Sunday, 6 o'clock, we host a little old show. It's called Dangerous Thoughts, where I rock the mic and Tyson talks the talk. We say what we want. It might give you a shock, but it's not shock radio. It's more than that. It's about people thinking and talking right back. We keep the mic open, everyone reports. We got different opinions on the floor. It's called Dangerous Thoughts, Sundays at 6 p.m. The subscript pirate might let you win to express your mind and get it off your chest. It's called Dangerous Thoughts. Tune in Sundays at 6.
That's my 6. Sundays at 6. It's a backwards 6. Is that 6? No, is that a 6? Is that a 6?
You're flip-flopping between a 6 and a D, but D6,
yeah.
Why not?
You ever play that game where you say, hey, look over here, and someone looks at that, and then you get punched in the arm?
No?
Never seen that game? That's a good game. My buddy Pete always plays that game with me. He's like, hey, look down here. And you look, and he's doing that, and that means he gets to sock me. It's a great time hanging out with Pete. Good guy. In fact, perfect segue into the welcome to Dangerous Thoughts, everybody. But the perfect segue into one of our topics tonight, the right to be an asshole. Because Pete just constantly shows me this and then punches me in the arm when I hang out with him. But I love the guy. So how do you explain that? He's just got that sort of like, he's also alt-right Republican, super staunch Jesus guy, but just has this huge heart. And so how do you explain that, right? Humanity, complex creatures. We are more than our labels, right?
Yeah, I mean, nothing seals a friendship like physical abuse. I agree.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, when you were younger, when you were running with your boys, did you ever just like punch each other in the balls, like as just for fun?
Well, fun for me when I was the one doing the punching.
Yeah.
Not terribly fun when you're the recipient.
No, it's terrible.
In the locker room, the wet towel.
Yeah. I was in a punk rock band, a couple of them over my life, and all those boys, we'd be drinking, we'd be partying, and then if somebody was going to leave the party, they would always try to punch as many people in the nuts as they could before they got out of the party. It was like a game. I think a lot of guys play that game until they get older. My balls are a little more sensitive these days, I think. I don't know if I could take a punch in the nards as well as I used to.
Well, I mean, since Val broke your dick, I don't think added injury.
This show is about the right to be an asshole. So yeah, go ahead and bring up that Val broke my dick. Val did break my dick. Poor Valerie. Everybody out there that listens to Dangerous Thoughts, thank you so much for putting up with us. But also prayers, to your God, to your higher power, to whatever you believe in. If you're a nihilist, pray to whatever the fuck, a broken bottle. But Val needs some prayers, needs some people praying for her, thinking about her. She's got some really, really, really bad stomach issues. We'll be checking into the hospital tomorrow at 5 a.m. Penrose Hospital here in Colorado if you want to form a little thing outside her window and go, come on, Val! Get your butt better! Heal your butt! But Val's not doing very well, and it sucks. So we're gonna do something about that tomorrow morning, and it'd be great if you guys out there listening to the show could put out some positive vibes for that girl because she needs it. Also, the topic of the show is changing your perspective, which I learned a big lesson on this weekend, and fantasists versus realists, and which may be the better way to come at life from a realist perspective or a fantasist perspective. But as far as changing your perspective, this weekend, not this weekend, but this week, I went back to LA and I was dealing with post-production on Star Crew, and a lot of different of the creative department heads all have their different ideas about which direction and look and sound, etc., that the show should go in. We had some post-production flow, some you hire this person for a reason. But Joe Castro is going to show up. Maybe. Hold on a second. Joe Castro is our guest this week. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Are you near a computer? Are you going to hop on?
Yes, I am. To be honest, I thought it was 8:30.
He thought it was 8:30.
I'm in front of the computer right now.
Yeah.
So, tell me what you want me to do.
Go to Gmail, check on the StreamYards link, and our producer will set you right up. And you'll be in about 10 minutes. So just jump on when you can. Click the StreamYards link, follow the little directions, and we'll bring you in.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
So everybody enjoys a peek behind the curtain. This is how the show works.
Yeah, everybody. And it seems like this week everybody has the right to be an asshole, right? That's our guest. Now, this is funny because I don't know how many of these shows that I've done over the years as a guest, people's live shows on social media. And I can't tell you how many times I've flaked on a couple of lovely people trying to host their show. And this is karma. This is absolutely karma happening right now. But cool, my buddy Joe Castro is an amazing director, writer, indie horror producer. The guy's made a million movies. And he'll be on in about 10 minutes. And we've got a few previews to show. He's the guy that did Terror Tunes. There's a whole, I think there's 5 of them now. But I remember watching Terror Tunes back when I was like 16 or something, or 20, or before I went out to Hollywood. And I remember thinking, wow, this guy's a sick effer, MFer. And so it was great to work with him. I did this movie with him called Xenophobia, which is a very like low budget horror film that knows exactly what it is and makes fun of itself, and is quite a joy to watch if you're into that type of film. Blood and guts and splatter. Joe Castro can do everything. And in fact, Joe Castro, who's coming on later, is also the guy that made our Zombots when you guys watched the Star Crew. He's the guy that put all our Zombots together and put the makeup on Mr. Tyson Strasberg, my co-show host. So I don't remember where I was when Castro called. Do you?
I don't know where we were, but I do remember perspective. But I do remember sitting in the chair and having Joe all over my face for 2 hours. And if you look at my Twitter, I think I just shared a picture of me as a Zombot, or if I haven't, I will shortly here. But yeah, that was Joe. That was his work.
How you said that sounded disgusting. I just want to let you know.
The right to be an asshole, Manu.
I sat there in my chair and I had Joe all over my face.
All over my face.
For a couple of hours.
Well, people don't know that hair and makeup isn't just, like a 5-minute, put some foundation on and do a blowout of your hair. I mean, I didn't have any hair, by the way, Manu. Thank you. But all this had to go.
Yeah, we did have all the Zombots shave their head. Thank you, Tyson, for doing that for us.
I was happy to do it. It's just coming back to a rural part of East County with a bald head gave an untrue impression of me.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. The biker guys are like coming up to you, patting on the back. Come on, let's go beat up some fags.
They were like, okay, you're white, you're bald. I think I know what you are. And I'm like, oh,
let's go bash them Jews.
I'm gay and I really don't care for white people. Let me just, so, really mixed messages.
Yeah.
This is a recorded show, so if they go back and make their own little shorts, they're probably going to cut those little bits out and take them way out of context.
People love to do that. People love to take things out of context. And you know what? I know that our show, like, we're going to do a pretty good job because we are trying to stay and not get canceled off of these other, not get the social media platforms that we're on booting us off. So you did notice MFer earlier, and the jokes that we make are absolutely in jest and not neither me nor Tyson wants to bash any Jews or fags. In fact, we're both fags. And are you Jewish?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, when I was born, my mother seemed to think so. But I was raised in a Christian household, so.
Yeah,
I know you're not. You didn't have the brisk.
No, I didn't. I had no brisk.
My parents.
How did you know that? Did I show you?
You've mentioned it in a previous space.
God damn it, Cassie! I was going to say yes.
This show is about the right to be an a-hole, so get ready for it. It's gonna be full of us acting like jerks, but lovable jerks. That's the thing about the people that I respect that are essentially pricks. Wow, something just happened to my mic, my earphones. Like I'm hearing the ocean or something in them. Hope that goes away.
Sorry, I had some issues with mine. Reset my headphones. My apologies.
Oh, no problems. No problem. We're just gonna bash each other the whole episode, aren't we? I'm gonna mess with your headphones. You mess with my mic. But the thing that I respect about people, like, all right, there's that comedian. He's bald as well. He's like a redheaded guy, but he's bald, and he just tells it like it is. Anybody know who I'm talking about? I can't think of his name, but he's a total jerk. He's a total prick. Except the way that he's a prick is real and respectable, in the sense that you respect him because he's being true to himself. And
I'm trying to reconcile redhead with bald.
Yeah, he's bald, but you can tell he's a redhead because every once in a while you can see
because he's a bald head, not a redhead.
Yeah, but every once in a while you can see the little red in his beard. Sometimes he has a beard. I can't think of his name. He's a wonderful comedian. He's one of the top guys right now. And there's a few comedians that were just arrogant pricks. If you go all the way back in the day,
Andrew Dice Clay.
Andrew Clay,
for the
Sam
purpose
Kinison.
of. Yeah, right. For the purpose of entertainment, but as a person was supposed to be a sweetheart. Andrew Dice Clay was supposed to be mild and gentle and a beautiful person. The caricature he plays is not the real Andrew Dice Clay. That's his.
Yeah, not at all. Right. It's a chauvinistic pig character that he came up with.
Right.
That's the whole joke. So hopefully, when you guys turn into Dangerous Thoughts and turn in. I hope you don't turn into Dangerous Thoughts. But when you tune into Dangerous Thoughts, you'll see that we're just joking. And we try to keep it real, and we try to talk about stuff that counts on this show. And I'm really sick of this nation being so scared to be an a-hole, so scared to talk, so scared to express your opinion and be who you are, because everybody's so scared to get canceled or scared to get in trouble. And I think that's a sick society. I think, that's a mark on our free speech. The idea that all these social media platforms that we use, Facebook, Instagram, 90%, I would say, this is a guess. I'm no scientist, but I'm guessing 90% of us use social media, somewhere in that high number. And it's a public platform that all of us are using, and yet it's still censored and very dangerous to be yourself on. I find that very odd, and I'm hoping that we can do something to change that. You know, a lot of times you'll see on social media when people get real, and they show some of their angry side, or they show some of their sad side. There's like this overwhelming, over-the-top response that people have on the internet to anything that isn't, hey, I'm having a great life. Look at me, I'm at Disneyland kind of stuff, you know? You look through people's Facebook pages and there's never any of the things in life that are hard, you know? People suffer. I opened the show talking about Valerie as soon as the show's over, you know? My heterosexual life mate, my partner in crime for the last 10 years is suffering very, very, very hard right now. And, you know, I'm worried that she has cancer or some terrible thing. And some of that stuff should be shared, and people's true personalities should be shared. The thing I hate most about I'm mostly a liberal-minded thinker, but the thing I hate most about my own people is that they're so ready to cancel our own tribe for the tiniest of mistakes, the tiniest of a-hole maneuvers. Hey, speaking of a-holes, there's my friend Joe Castro.
How's it going, gentlemen?
Hey, man, how are you?
Hi, Joe.
I need to kind of make an amends to the room. I was taking a nap. I thought it was at 8:30, and so I thought I had time. Anyways, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Speaking of a-holes, speaking of fags, and speaking of Jews, there's my friend Joe Castro. I'm sorry.
Not Jewish.
You missed the earlier bit. You would have got it.
Okay.
That wouldn't have sounded so terrible. No, I love you. I love Jewish people. I love gay people. We're all gay. The three of us. Cassie is not. Are you? Can you admit to it? Can you admit as a straight man that you've at least had some gay experience?
I've never had any gay.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
Well, after the show, you know, Manu's there, and one thing, Joe, I wanted to tell you, by the way, hi and thank you. I got to spend the weekend on the set of Star Crew, and I remember sitting in the seat, and before you joined the show, I said I had Joe up in my face for 2 hours, you know, putting on the.
He said what he said was, I had Joe all over my face for 2 hours. That's what he said. I was like,
up in my face.
Yeah.
Up in my face. Joe, I'm going to text you the photo of me after you were done. You know, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I loved it.
Joe did such an awesome job on our Zombots. They were, in fact, I wish we had like 3 more days of shooting so that we could have featured those beautiful makeups that you did. I think you'll still be happy with what we got on camera. But boy, that makeup was wonderful.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So this is Joe Castro, and the topic of the show tonight is the right to be an asshole, changing your perspective, and fantasists versus realists. But let's show people a little bit of Joe's work. Joe's a writer, director, visual effects master, visual effects legend, and we have a couple of previews of some of his films. Can we play a couple of those?
Hey, look at me. What are you up to?
This is not cartoon. It's terror tune. This is where it all began.
Oh! was Terror Tunes 5. Are you on 4?
We're on 4 right now. Yeah.
That looks
great.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, why didn't you
So
call me?
who's in the mood for spaghetti tonight?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I remember watching Terror Tunes, the first one, when I was younger, and thinking, look, this guy is one sick MFer. Who made this movie? And I was so stoked to get to work with you, man, because that franchise that you have there, this indie movie gem of a franchise, is it's quite something. So if you guys haven't checked out Terror Tunes and you love horror, splatter, comedy, and fun, check out those movies. They're fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you for that beautiful introduction and those wonderful words. That means a lot.
Oh man, you're a stud.
Most people don't know, but we shot the first movie for $2,300 in 3 days over Easter weekend. And when it came out, it was, I kid you not, it was literally sitting on the shelf, like 8 units of it next to Pirates of the Caribbean. It was it was like a totally different world, right? 2002, there was like, Terror Tunes, Pirates of the Caribbean. And people had no idea, we shot that movie.
Wow.
Well, for 2,300, what did it make though?
Well, let's put it this way: we moved 50,000 units in the first 2 weeks at $3.33 a unit.
That's awesome.
This was
how was it that cheap?
How did I do?
Yeah, I mean, I find that so hard to believe.
Well,
there's an old saying in the gay community: "It's not who you know, it's who you." Forget it. No.
It was my husband who I made them and produced the film with. We worked on this little micro budget independent film in Austin, Texas. It was directed by a very talented director. His name was Kelly Green, and he made a movie called Attack of the Bat Monster. And it wasn't a horror movie. It was about the making of a classic black and white science fiction movie back in the 1950s. And basically, these independent studios, what they would do was they would get like a little bit of cash together, and then they would go in, like they would literally sneak in on like a studio backlot when they weren't shooting because it was a different time, or like up in Palmdale where they had like a set of like the Ten Commandments or something, and they would shoot a little movie like guerrilla style, and in this basically a mock biopic of what they were doing back then. They had like this writer who was on like, meth at the time, whatever meth was, speed. And he wrote the first 30 pages of the script, and he like ran it to the set like the first day of filming. They didn't even know what they were getting into. They knew there was a bat monster. They knew there was a girl. They knew there was a mad scientist, and they knew there was some guy that was falling in love with a girl, and the movie wasn't going to be over until the monster died.
When your writer's on meth, you know that the script's going to change constantly.
Well, I just say, it's like, so they would shoot like a 1-to-1 shooting ratio, which means they would shoot a take. And if they messed up the take, they wouldn't go back to the beginning. They just push in for a tighter shot, and they'd take it from there. Yeah. And that's how they made these micro budget shot on film movies. And I'm like, well, if they can do it like in 1950, why can't we do it today? And that's how we made Terror Tunes 1.
And you shot Terror Tunes on film even.
Oh, no. The Terror Tunes the original wasn't shot on film. My first feature, Ceremony, was shot on 35 millimeter Panavision. Terror Tunes was my third feature. And like I said, it was a different time back in the day. When I shot Ceremony, we literally shot it on 35 millimeter Panavision, and we shot the whole feature for $75,000. Now at the time, this is 1993, Blockbuster Video was giving
for those of you kids that don't know, Blockbuster Video was this place where you would go and there would be movies on the walls and these things called VHS tapes or they even started renting DVDs, and you could go in and you could rent a movie and you would bring it back to your house, and then you would slip it in a movie player.
Called wait, there was a time before streaming? I don't.
Yeah, there was, and the king of that period was called Blockbuster. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Blockbuster Home Video at the time, they would buy like 55 units per store of a movie, and each VHS tape cost like $50. a lot of money. Well, they got to a point where they would just give you like 150, 200 grand up front to rent your movie out for like, I don't know, half a year or something like that. So if you made a movie for $75,000, you knew you were at least going to double your money within the first, 6 months, whatever. If you could make it correctly, if you could do it right. So that's when all these these micro budget. Well, they were micro budget at the time.
It was awesome. Early 2000s, the beginning of right in that area was like the heyday of indie film, where you could make an independent film and actually make a bunch of money at the same time.
Yeah. And also in the 90s, all these like direct to video sequels are being done for all of our like really popular cult films that were coming out. And like I worked on the Wishmaster series that had theatrical, but then they made the 3 and 4 that went directly to home video. I think maybe even 2 went directly to home video. But
so you said Terror Tunes was a $2,300 budget.
Yeah, it was actually budgeted at $2,500, and I came in under budget.
But you were.
I asked for $2,500, and I literally came in under budget.
But
I'm sorry. How much did you make? How much did you make on that? I missed that part.
Yeah.
Well, he did the math. You got to do the math.
That was just the first 2 weeks. In the first 2 weeks, we moved 50,000 units at $33. Yeah.
So. You were using Friends cameras, Friends studios, Friends editing bays.
We rented the camera from a good friend of mine who is a cult film director himself. His name is Jeff Leroy, and I think he rented us camera for $100 a day. So for 3 days, it was $300. So that's where $300 of the budget went. I probably spent less than $500 on food. I basically what it all boiled down to was. It's preparation, right? Everything was produced already before we went to set. I had like a giant tray of lasagna that I made homemade already in the fridge. I had two chickens that were stuffed with potatoes.
So you were directing, catering.
I was literally throwing it in the oven as I walked past the oven, and we were shooting over here. The person's house we shot it in, they were repainting their house. And they painted it like the whole house like a cartoon. So we had someone literally painting like cartoon sets on someone's house in the house, and
all the blood and the tunes, you built those as well.
That's right. A good friend of mine. His name was he was my good friend at the time. We're not friends anymore.
That happens on movies. It happens. Well, I'll tell you.
He sculpted the creepy characters for us, but they're basically based on myself. My big snoz, and I'm Dr. Carnage. That's me. And if you look carefully, you can see it. There's like the bump in the nose, and if they don't have a beard, my chin goes up like this. I look like Dr. Carnage.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with being related to Dustin Hoffman. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, I want to show some more stuff of Joe's. Joe and me made. He was kind enough. I don't know why he didn't call me for Terror Tunes 4, but I'll forgive him. We made a movie together called Xenophobia. Can we pull that up and play that when it's ready? It's a cool movie that also knows that that it makes fun of itself, and it's very self-aware. It's a fun experience. So check out.
I'm extremely
Xenophobia.
Proud. It's one of the films I'm extremely proud of.
Yeah, you should
I'm
be.
Really proud of it.
It was a lot of fun, and I saw it in a theater with a whole group of people, and that self-awareness was very evident. There was laughs and screams, and it was a lot of fun. Here's Xenophobia.
Something happened to me out there in the desert. No one believes.
I'm at the remote location. No bodies, no one. It's happened again.
It's all true. We are not alone. They live among us.
They walk amongst us, imitating what we do.
What are we supposed to do?
No one believes us. I mean, we have no proof. have multiple species. They breed with us. They eat us.
I know they implanted something.
Is anybody there?
You have a mission to complete. You are all chosen.
Right on.
Yeah. Terrifying to me because I'm an 80s kid and I remember Whitley Strieber's Communion, and I'm a big UFO guy, UAP guy now, to be UAPs they're called now. So I think, and so is my co-host
UAP, what does that mean? What is UAP?
UAP is the Pentagon's new word for
unidentified aerial phenomenon.
They want us to call them UAPs now. And if you haven't been keeping up, the Pentagon has released like 160 videos of UAPs. They've admitted they exist. They don't know. They say that they look like they're intelligently controlled. The Pentagon has also told us to look out for them, and if we see anything, to report it. They're setting up agencies, all sorts of new stuff happening in the UFO. UAP
and they're also called TMOs, or transmedium objects.
Yeah, which means they can
go from water to air to space.
Nice.
Yeah.
My husband, his theory is that aliens are actually us from the future coming back to change something, to prevent something horrific from happening in the past.
Well, they have.
I don't see why it can't be all those things, right? There could be extraterrestrial life. There could be time travel. Sure. There could be, cues or deities out there. There could be. I mean, I think the nature of reality is so much more than we're allowed to experience. We're limited in our biological senses. Our ability to truly understand and experience and the reality that's around us, different dimensions, different absolutely.
We've only got 5 senses. We have no idea what reality really is. We're completely
6, 7, 8, 9. What other things are out there that we just can't biologically experience? What is there?
That's probably happening like right around us as we speak. I'm reading a book right now, actually, called The Grand Biocentric Design by Robert Lanza. And Robert Lanza is this dude that super genius biology guy. He's the guy that first cloned a goat. And this other guy, a particle physicist named with Bob Berman and Maciej Pawczyk. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. But the whole Grand Biocentric Design, the theory is, the book is the definitive explanation of how consciousness determines the structure of the universe. And the theory behind this book, and they have concrete evidence, mathematical evidence, these people are geniuses that wrote this book, that it could be entirely possible that consciousness creates the universe and not the other way around, which is mind-blowing when it comes to everything could exist. I think it's absolutely possible that one of our good listeners, Chris Leftwich, thinks that the aliens are hiding in the moon and that they have brought the DNA to this planet and have been tinkering all throughout the history of Earth and just kind of watching from up there on the moon.
It also begs the question about what is reality? Like, is the dream world when we're asleep more or less real than the world when we're awake?
Yeah, and that we're all plugged into this juice, and we live in these bodies that we call Joe and Tyson and Manu and Cassie, and it's all super, super interesting to me.
Ooh,
so,
I love it.
xenophobia.
That's why I like. Yeah, well, the word xenophobia used to be the definition of xenophobia. This is before the Trump was in office. Was literally. If you looked at the word xenophobia, the first definition of it was the fear of aliens or the fear of extraterrestrials. That's what it used to be. And then the meaning, the meaning changed to the fear of foreigners or the fear of, foreign entities, foreign entities or foreigners.
Yeah. Well, and we use the word alien interchangeably, right? Somebody not from the homeland, wherever that homeland may be. Right. So, lately, and I hate this about our politics, we refer to undocumented immigrants as aliens.
How strange that those terms, aliens. Those aliens. those aliens are coming to take our jobs.
It's like they take it to like the worst possible scenario.
Oh, of course.
Of course. Like the human nature does that automatically, right?
Speaking of being assholes, guess who were the aliens 300 years ago? Right? When Native Americans controlled this land? Right. Who were the aliens then?
Right.
We're bringing Jesus and guns to and some diseases.
Right. And this perfect paradise we call America.
Yes.
Oh my
At the
goodness.
time, right?
If I stole a bicycle and I rode that bicycle for several years and I put it on my porch and then somebody stole it from me, what right do I have to complain that my bike was stolen when I stole it? And yet white people who stole this land then are complaining that, brown people from across the border are coming. Well, first of all, many of those brown people were Native Americans that were split when the U.S. and Mexico, this artificial border went between the tribe, right? And on top of that, they're coming into this land and, oh my God, they're stealing America. No, we stole America. And we have no right to, say that, if somebody's coming here. And why did we come here? Why did we come to America? We were looking for a better life. Other people are looking for a better life. Why did that change? 300 years ago, that was a perfect excuse from coming here. Now that excuse is not a good excuse. People looking for a better life. Bring us your humble masses, yearning to be free. That's not America anymore. When did that change?
Every time I take a plane ride across America, like, I'm going, even from here to Vegas, it's just like these massive pieces of land, like massive, like there's nothing, no one, like nothing.
Oh, we don't have enough room. We don't have enough room.
There's like
we don't have enough room.
Yeah.
Like,
so ridiculous.
It's true. It's so true. Like there's like nothing.
And the idea, and it's one of the things that I really truly do love about this country is the melting pot. I love that's how it started, and that's what we at least try to aspire to. Some of us.
Well, that's why big cities are so interesting.
Yeah, man.
That's why it's like
culture.
Like, wow, when you go to like the big cities, like wow.
Yeah,
so much going on.
That's I live in a rural. I live in a rural small city, so I don't have to tell you how red it is up here.
San Diego.
San Diego is huge. I live in Ramona, which is East County, San Diego, rural, horses, chickens, goats. By the way, goats don't go, goats go, and they wake you fucking up in the middle of the, by the way, that's what a real goat does.
Yeah,
anyway, I live out here in the rural, and it is so heavily Republican. And yet I go into town, the big city, and it is so heavily Democrat. And I think that is right. I think that when you have a confluence, a condensed area of all these different colors of skin, religion, political, et cetera, there's a lot more grace given to each other. We are so different. We all live together and we're put here like this. But then when you spread us out and put us in rural areas, we become tribal and hateful. And I don't know why that is.
I don't know either. I mean, I grew up in the 80s where speaking of, xenophobia and misogyny and especially homophobia was sort of like baked into us, man. Cool. I mean, I was so terrified. Oh, look at Terratoons 4. Look at that. Look at the poster.
That's Brink Stevens. She's been in over 200 feature films. She makes her directorial debut with that film. We reinvented Dr. Carnage for this one. You have Janet Romano, better known as Lizzie Borden from the original, over on the left-hand side. And, of course, you got Max Assassin up there at the top. And good friend of mine, Jacob, and there's Trista Robertson screaming with a huge. That's a full.
Look
cheese,
at that mouth.
It's a full cheese scream right out of like an Italian zombie horror film.
Yeah, look at the doctor too. To me that represents the epitome of what we were just talking about.
Yeah, and that doctor and I have the same dentist. I'm working on that. I'm working on that.
I wanted to say, in the midst of all that, we're talking about separation of different tribes of people. Have you ever taken someone from like a rural area and introduced them to a new food, like Thai or like a Korean barbecue or like something funky, and they take a bite and they're like, "What is this?" It's like a flavor they've never encountered. I had a good friend of mine. Well, he's a good friend of mine. Came from South Texas, a little town, South Texas, and I introduced him to Tom Khao Kai, which is basically
I love that soup.
Which is it's this Thai soup,
Coconut
and it's a very unique flavor. It's like a really unique flavor, and you've never had it. I've never seen anybody not like it.
The coolest thing about that soup too is it doesn't matter which different Thai place you go to. Each Thai place has a little subtly different flavor, little subtly different recipe on how they do it. Food can bring people together.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I don't care who you are. That's why things.
But if you bring those rural people to try a different food, the first thing they do is they take their fork and they poke at it, and they're like, "Where do I start? I don't know. How am I supposed to eat? Do I eat the shell? Do I? They're."
But I just will never forget the look on this person's face when they were introduced to a culture that they never thought they would encounter, and the taste and the flavor, they were just like blown away. And I'm like, welcome to LA, welcome to this wonderful thing we have going on.
It's
here.
Actually
welcome to diversity.
It's what saved my day the other day. I opened the show. I think I spoke a little bit about this. No, maybe not. But I had this horrible week in LA recently. And it was all about post-production and getting my post-production flow together and my whole team together on Star Crew and getting them all on the same page. And we had post-production problems, but we faced them all. But I had one of those days that was just like everything that could possibly go wrong and every argument you could possibly have. It was all awful. It was like just one of those days, you know what I mean, where you just want to give up. And I went into this Thai restaurant right around the corner from my house at the end of the day to just like chill out and relax. And they brought me my food and it was lovely. And I was like, I realized, and keeping with the topic of the show, about how you can change your perspective, because that food came to me and I was looking at it. It was chicken and broccoli and garlic rice. And I realized, wait a second, Manu, you've just been able to go around all day working on a film that you were blessed to get an opportunity to make with a bunch of artists that you absolutely love. And you're jumping on a jet plane tomorrow morning to go back to Colorado and hang out in the Rocky Mountains. Life isn't so bad. And very often just the change of the perspective in your head at the way you're looking at things can completely change your day. From the worst of things to what do I have to be humble for? So perspective is a powerful thing. Just wanted to point that out. I also want to play the last trailer that Joe shared with us. Joe makes so many movies and does so many, works on so many films, but we also want to show the films that he directs and writes and makes. So here's one more from Joe Castro.
Very afraid.
Hello? Hello? Someone, I need help. buddy. You want a drink?
No! It can't be you! No!
No, what a guy.
Thank you, Manu. And I want to
Oh my God!
I just want to thank Cassie and thank you to Tyson
Yeah.
for showing that. You know, I just that film just.
Do you actually have 100 body counts in that film?
It's actually 155. My husband and I have the Guinness Book of World Record for the highest body count in a slasher movie because of that film. And we've had it for 12 years now. And it has 155 kills. If you don't like gore and you don't like seeing people die, do not watch.
You might want to skip that one.
You can. I like. It's uncomfortable for me to watch, and the I'm watching it like this with people. Oh my God, did I do that? Oh my God, stop. You know, and there's a lot of like full frontal nudity in the film. We have everything. It's just like
You go over to Joe's house and you see, like, you come in and he's got like body parts on the floor. There's legs on the wall. He's like usually working on something that looks like a dead.
You can't tell, but this is
harvesting.
There's a pig head right there. It's like a skinned pig head here.
Yeah,
it's
But he's absolutely brilliant with these, and I can't wait with Star Crew when we get a budget to start doing some of the splatter.
When do we get to see what we shot?
Well, what happened is I didn't realize how much CG costs. So we actually had to raise another $100,000, and my visual effects coordinator sat down with me and he goes, Manu. This was at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
He goes, you can. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to set up a great CG VFX team, and I'm going to do this entire film for you. This proof of concept, and we're going to get this show off the ground. But you need to raise either another $1 million. If you want it done in the next 3 months, which is when I wanted it done. He goes, you need another $1 million if you want it done in 3 months. Otherwise, it's going to be the end of the year.
Yeah.
And you're going to need to raise another $100,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Luckily, a great friend of mine, truly great friend of mine, put up all the money. And so at the end of the year, we'll have VFX done, a couple more months for sound design, and then we'll go try to sell the show.
Excellent. Because I love what I saw when I was on set, and I love all that I don't know everything about it. I know it's kind of a hush in some things, but I'm really excited for it.
And that saved Manu so much oral copulation. He didn't need to go there.
I can't tell you. My VFX coordinator's name's Mike Phillips. Look him up. Watch his movies too. That I can't tell you how much I'm going to owe that guy because he's put some of the best. We've got people working on the CG that are like 40-year vets that have done everything from Terminator to Ghostbusters, etc. And they're working slow, but I don't care as long as it comes out great. That's all I care about. So,
I am so excited to see Star Crew. I am chomping at the bit, and I think
I want to sell a show. I want to get a whole series, man, so that everybody can come to work.
More than just the great special effects, and by the way, the great Joe Castro, who I just sent him a picture of me in the makeup that he did on me, and it was beautiful, and I was one of the last Zombots that got very, less attention. Rob, who was in the
look
chair
at that! Is that the
4 hours?
Yeah, that's
there. It is. Yeah, that's me. That's me. Oh my goodness! I do really need to see a dentist.
Yeah, sure.
That was.
I love that face.
Oh, thank you. You did, but it's your creativity, and that with the creativity of the visual artist and the guy who did the miniatures, and oh my God, it's so great. And then above all that, if you take all that greatness and set it aside for a second, the writing, the story it tells is just brilliant. and I can't wait till they all get married and we get to see all this talent on the screen. And you know what? I think you're going to get more investors, bigger investors. I think you started this little pebble, this little snowball down the hill, and it's just going to build and build.
5 years in development.
You took everything that we like about this genre and you put it all together in one thing.
Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Everything we love, and it's like all the best parts.
I keep telling people,
I love it.
A Galaxy Quest, but rated R.
But also you like the love of the old school effects from those films, but with new technology, kind of loving it together and making it all work. I love that.
Sci-fi meets zombies for the first season. But they have this powerful device that can take them to all sorts of dimensions and stories. So it's a hugely, it's going to cost a lot of money to make. But we have some really powerful people in Hollywood already interested. So
if you could just get like an 18th of what I just saw yesterday, and I saw that the Flash yesterday, which is a great film, but $300 million to make it. I mean, if you could have just given you, like 5 or 10 million to do what you do.
Give me 25.
I'm sure they would have. I'm sure they could have found a way to like not spend about 5 or 10 million, and they're giving it to you to make this whole other show. Would it be amazing?
Yeah.
In fact, someone even said that. Like, I think it costs like, I don't know. I want to say something like 200 million or 300 million to do the remake of West Side Story. If they would have given 300 directors $1 million to each make their own film, can you imagine the amazing things?
Did you see Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I did.
Pretty fun kind of zombie type of movie. That was like completely
how much was that?
Crazy.
Yeah,
28 million.
Oh,
and so like I would gladly take that 25 million and make a movie like that, because I much prefer a movie like that to The Flash.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, The Flash did have some amazing moments in it, but
don't get me wrong.
Is a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think it could have been about at least 30 minutes shorter, which would have saved them. There it is. They could have given you the money to do that.
Do you know how?
I'll call Ezra. I'll be like,
I'm saying,
shorten the next one.
It was 2.5 hours long. They could have cut 30 minutes out of that film. It would have been appropriate. It was a little long.
Yeah,
and
then
do you know how many times I've been entertained by Ed Wood movies that cost nothing to make? I mean, Ed Wood.
Yeah, Ed Wood.
But you still sit there and he's probably worth more now than he ever was when he was alive.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's entertainment value. Look at MST3K. They probably made more money than he did just featuring some of his films on their show.
Yeah, 2 robots.
A friend of mine has one of his Angora sweaters in this little dainty little box.
Yes.
And one of his, he's like, he goes, come over here and take a look at this. And he opens this like dainty little box and he pulls out. He goes, I go, what is that? He goes, that's one of Ed Wood's Angora sweaters. And I'm like, oh my God, are you serious?
Wow.
Goes,
the real one that Ed Wood actually wore?
Yeah. He's like really hardcore Ed Wood fanatic, and he has a whole bunch of his stuff.
That's
my God, Glenn or Glinda, right? That's what that's
Glenn
from.
Or Glinda, yeah.
I'm an Ed Wood fan too. I also love the biopic they made on.
Oh yeah, I think Tim Burton did an amazing job with that. Oh gosh, I love that film. Really.
So if hey Cassie, if people want to join the show, they want to ask some questions, if they want to come on live, they send a DM to @SubscriptPirate, right? On Twitter.
Yes,
on Twitter.
2 people, maybe more. Let me check.
Yeah, let's bring some people on if they want to ask us some questions.
Oh, and I'm loving that turtle right there. I love that turtle. That is brilliant.
What's that for?
I just molded that yesterday. I had 20 minutes to mold it, and that's for a movie called Giantess Attacks the Turtlenator. It's basically a kaiju film with a giant woman fighting monsters. And my friend Jeff Leroy is producing that and directing.
You whipped that out in 20 minutes. I love that.
Well, no. I molded it in 20 minutes.
Oh, you molded.
I sculpted over a period of like 5 days. The thing. I mean, when you sculpt, for me, I have to like put the clay there, then I have to walk away, and not look at it at all, because if not, you're just looking at a big gray blob. You're like, where do you push this and that? And it's just too daunting. And then I do a little bit more work, and then then it's not good. So then I have to walk away again and walk away for like a full 24, 48 hours, and then come back and look at it. And like, this is, there's power in symmetry. That's why we like the people that we consider beautiful, or like, if you look at, they have very symmetrical faces. So symmetry in sculpture works the same way. I'm always trying to make everything very symmetrical, and it's hard, man. It's hard. The little bits, like one side of your nostril flares this way, and one side of it flares like slightly like diagonally that way. It's like there's little things like that. I'm always looking at, and you're trying to move the clay around, and it's a daunting task.
You know what that reminds me of? It's like an evil version of that turtle in Never-Ending Story.
With that snapping turtle. That's
right. You're waiting for that thing to sneeze on you, right?
Yeah.
So
sneeze and then eat you. This one.
Yeah. So this is they're called an alligator snapping turtle. It actually has the texture of an alligator.
Yeah.
It's
I see on its head that it's got scales and such.
Yeah, it's got scales all over it.
And honestly, I so miss those films. I miss those beautiful sets with beautiful practical effects and puppets and all those. It's a lost art that not many people even have. Know anyone that's doing it anymore.
But I want to mention that the new the Star Wars stuff that Disney's doing.
The Mandalorian.
They're bringing back all this stuff that we love. Practical mechanical masks on people. They build that full scale Rancor head for the show.
Yes,
and there's all these
miniatures as well.
Miniature everything. Yeah. So it's finding its way back. It's finding its way back. I think there's more of it now than there's been in a long time, and practical effects will always have a special place in everyone's heart.
And I think it looks better when you have a real person in a real makeup as opposed to a digital. A digital might look okay, but it doesn't look real. Real is real, and real always looks real on camera.
Yeah, it's
for me touchable. the only like completely, almost completely digital CG 3D world that I was impressed by recently was just that that Cameron film, and of course Cameron is the cutting edge of everything,
but also he built an entire world that allowed. He doesn't say look at this, doesn't it look real? He says come into this world, suspend your belief and join us, which is different as opposed to someone trying to make something that looks real. So it doesn't look real with the CGI. No. So
he's pushing the technology.
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
To the limits.
Yeah, it's like, how does he do the water and the actors and then the CGI splashing on them? And does he go out and shoot the ocean and then put the people in it, or does he? How does he do?
From what I know, they're all in that full motion cap gear, and they're on real boats and like.
Well, he spent $500 million marrying CGI to real practical. And
real time, right? To the real time. When they're acting, they're capturing the actual characters.
And what did it take? It took something like 9 years to get this film out. I mean, it wasn't like a 1 year project.
I think he shot 2, 3, and 4. He shot 2, 3, and 4 all at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, that makes it.
But
we have a couple of lists.
It takes a long time to make movies. People don't understand what it takes. All right.
We've got a couple of listeners, Dave and then Katie, I think. Dave, I finally get to see you on camera now. Hold on, just to be clear, Dave is in the same location as Cassie and Manu, so he's got to spend some time there on site with them. I never get to see Dave because he's never bothered to come to Southern California.
Well, there was the plan, but
all right.
You need to come here.
I got to see Joe because I was where Joe was, but I never got to see Dave because, I guess that's a two-way
Nobody
street.
likes Tyson. Poor Tyson.
It's only a matter of time.
Poor Tyson.
All right, Dave, what's up, man?
Well, I got to say, looking at Joe's IMDb, I'm just like, wow, there's like horror blood, like not totally my thing. I do have some tolerance for some, But then I noticed that you did another gay movie and another gay sequel.
I did. Yeah.
Can you like talk about that a little bit? How that was? That's like a 180 from the trailers that we saw earlier tonight.
Yeah, Thank you for bringing that up, and hi, Dave. Very nice to meet you, and Katie. If you don't know what another gay sequel is or another gay movie, it's basically a parody of American Pie, but with 4 gay guys trying to get laid. And but then to even take it one step further, the director, who's brilliant, Todd Stevens, a good friend of mine, he took it one step further, and he also threw in like all the practical effect humor that you see in the original Airplane movies and the Naked Gun films. So he brought so you got 4 gay guys trying to lose their virginity on spring break or whatever, and then you bring me in to do like crazy practical effects. I did things like Todd Stevens is in it. Todd Stevens is from Kids in the Hall. He plays one of the lead character's father, and he gives his son his penis pump from like the 1950s or something, and it looks like an old toaster, and it looks like kind of like an Art Deco, one of those old toaster looking things, and he catches his son using it, and it's like malfunctioning and there's steam coming out of it, and when he pulls it off, his penis like literally like a pencil. It's like. And so they had me make literally like a pencil, like a pencil, and stuff like that. There's even a scene where one of the lead characters is a tough lesbian. Let's put it that way. She's a tough lesbian is what I'll call her, right? Yeah. And her name is Muffler, I think. Muffler instead of what is it, Whistler, right? It's Muffler in the film.
No, and, Stifler.
Stifler. It's Muffler, and they do these shots in the movie from inside her mouth because she's always going like this. So they had me make the inside of her mouth so you could see her point of view whenever she's sticking out her tongue. And I did a great mechanical tongue, like a big long tongue.
A practical thing that sits in front of camera.
The camera, right, looking at it. But then I also made a giant puppet tongue that could be operated from the side, so you get these great profile shots of her big tongue. But I did all kinds of fun stuff in that film. I know there's one scene where there's 3 guys who are having a 3-way, and they, instead of using lube, they use super glue, and one of them puts the super glue on his hand, and he smacks this guy on the ass, and he can't pull his hand off his ass, and then he rips it off, and the skin comes off with a perfect handprint of this guy's.
You know what? I think I would like to see, him it not come off and just, have to walk around town with his hand on the ass, with a coat.
That reminds me of that true story where you remember that girl, she super glued a guy's dick to his stomach because she was angry at him.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
He had to do like a handstand to pee.
Hey, that's better than Lorena Bobbitt. Better than Lorena Bobbitt.
I'd be willing to bet money that one of Joe's movies has a penis getting cut off. In it. Maybe even 2. No movies.
I don't think I've.
Never.
Wait. Actually, I just did an on-camera interview for the re-release of a movie called Hell's Highway, and if you haven't seen it, you should definitely see it. It's a great cult film. But what's his name? God, he's gonna hate me. He's gonna be so mad at me for this. The guy from the big porn star, Ron Jeremy. Ron Jeremy. Yeah, and this girl who's she's supposed to be the devil in the film, cuts his penis off. And I don't think I actually did the gag on set.
Oh, you didn't do the gag.
I really didn't. Oh wait, I just did. You're right. I just did one in a movie. I've done maybe a couple, I guess.
I told you.
Now to be fair, a brisk doesn't count.
I just did a film with Marcel Waltz, the director, and he did a scene where this guy gets his penis cut off and then thrown back at him, and it hits him in the face. It's just awful. Just
dick slap.
His penis cut off
with your own equipment is hilarious.
Right in your face. And I try to get him to do some shots where I flung it like underhand real fast so it would spin and I try to get it in slow motion, which was like because it went past the camera. We tried. I think we spent like 15 minutes trying to get the shot, but eventually we just used a tight shot of the person's face as this very elastic silicone,
There's
off
actually
penis
this
smacks him in the
wonderful
face.
movie that I saw. It's a comedy that Ben Stiller made a few years ago, and it was all about these 4 kids that went out camping, and the kid accidentally, while he's drunk, cuts his penis off,
Ooh.
and then he gets sent off to the hospital, but they forget the penis, and so the other kids have to get the penis back on time.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And it's a hilarious film. I can't think of what it's
That's
called.
hilarious.
It was on Netflix, and the logo for the film was just an eggplant emoji. And
nice.
I so wish I knew the name of the film.
I need to see that.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's really funny.
I'm going to end with this to finish answering Dave's question. That was probably the most fun experiences I've ever had in my entire life, working on another gay film, another gay movie, and another gay sequel. And but there's everything in those films. Zombies. I even have giant crabs. The crabs you get from sexually transmitted disease crabs. Well, I had to make these big I had to make mechanical puppet crabs because they all get crabs at one point and on spring break in Florida. And that's just a lovely experience. But yeah, no,
nobody. I'm telling you, nobody loves crotch crickets. Those are not good.
I've never had them. Thank God.
Oh,
I'll tell you.
Scary.
That was like a 70s thing, I think.
It's still going on. I bet it's still going.
I'm sure people still get it, but I think it was much more prevalent back then.
Well, if you have like Manu, I know has hardwood floor. I have shag carpet, so they're more attracted probably to my.
That's a good metaphor.
My home.
That was a good, safe Facebook metaphor. I think we'll stay on Facebook this week. Maybe. Dangerous Thoughts always devolves into penises at the end of the show. So here we are. But
I can't.
Don't you think there were more penises on film, like in regular mainstream films in the 70s? And than there were, than there are now. What happened to?
Has anybody ever seen Caligula? Hello.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it's okay to. Yeah, it's okay. It's one of these things that we really need to work on because every film has got all this female nudity, but you can't show a dick. It's like a dick is the most evil thing in the world.
Did you ever see that movie Ghost Story? It's a movie called Ghost Story, and it stars like all those famous film stars from the 1950s. Anyways, there's a scene where a man is literally scared out of a high-rise window when he finds out the girl he just had sex with is a ghost, is dead, and he falls out this huge high-rise window, and his towel comes off because he's wrapped in a towel, and he full frontal nudity, green screen, falling down to his death. And they don't do anything fun like that anymore.
No, I mean, I remember actually watching Sin City. I remember watching Sin City 2, and I remember being really, really bummed out by it. Now Sin City 2 is a brilliant movie, but it's all this death and all this gore and all these people getting killed and murdered, and I'm like, and I'm enjoying it. I love the film, don't get me wrong. But then this guy's body flies out a window, and he's dead, and he lands on the ground, and he's in an alley, full, like, looking up at the sky, and they shaded out his crotch. And I'm like, we can cut people's heads off, we can cut arms off, we can do the most sickest things in rated R films, but show somebody's genitals, show a man's genitals, and suddenly you're NC-17.
And a man's genitals, I guess, is different than a female, because we've seen female frontal nudity. That's fine, but male nudity, because the genitals are outward facing as opposed to inward facing, somehow makes some ethical difference.
It's I blame the religion and all that bullshit.
Well, why can men take their shirt off in public with their nipples exposed?
We got boobs. I got boobs.
Well, the older I get, the more I have. But
free the nipple.
But
free the nipple.
How is that different than a woman who just has more skin substance, but the nipples are the nipples?
But
nothing is really different.
Isn't it really only taboo here in America?
Yeah,
America's the only country that makes nudity the most natural thing in the world.
They try to label
specifically
behavior. Illegal behavior. It's a bad
specifically
behavior.
Upper body nudity. Like
you go to almost any part of Europe, and you go to the sauna, and you'll find yourself there with women and men in full nude, and nobody has a problem with it.
Well, can we ask
the most sexually uptight country in the world?
Can we ask
free nation?
Can we ask the question of the only woman in the room at the moment? Because I'm going over here. There's Katie.
We're going
Hi, Katie.
overtime. So also, I don't know how many more guests we have, but
I want to hear what Katie has to say about this.
Yes,
me too.
Katie, why are boobs
darling.
allowed and penises not?
I don't know, but I mean, a genital's a genital. I mean, there's testicles and then there's chesticles. It's one of those. I don't know. People are just so prudish.
My grandpa used to say testicles, spectacles, wallet, and watch before he left the door. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good philosophy to have. But if you're a woman, it's chesticles, not testicles.
Chesticles. That's what you said. All right. Yeah.
So what is a gay man's booty hole? A mangina?
Yeah. Mangina.
Yeah, you can
I don't.
that.
No. My goal tonight is to get Katie to cackle. I don't know if I have to tickle her.
Yes, we need to get it recorded. We need that.
No, I am so glad I was muted earlier because I was cackling like crazy. I nearly fell off my bed once again because I was cackling so much. So no, please don't.
Hold on, let me get my rainbow penis and see if I can make her laugh.
Oh my God! It's a rainbow penis.
There we go. It took a minute.
I knew your Instagram thing was a rainbow penis. I knew it was. You would never admit to it, and now I caught you red-handed.
Rainbow-handed.
I caught you rainbow-handed.
Why, old? It was a planet with a little heart, and you thought it looked like a whatever.
Sure,
all right,
it was. Okay, Katie, I'm sorry. And I completely interrupted what you were going to say by asking.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I mean my perspective on genitals is just show the freaking lot. They're all the same. But I would like to ask Mr. Castro a question if I could.
Absolutely.
Well, you have won so many awards, and you're in the Guinness Book of Records. I need to see that movie because it sounds absolutely beautiful. I absolutely love horror. I've been watching horror since I was like 3 years old, and it's amazing. But I want to take you right back now to 1985, and you won the, if I'm getting this right, National Special Effects Makeup Contest in Monsterland magazine. I was just wondering if you'd speak about that a little bit and tell us the process.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a great question. That's a very tender, touching time in my life, and I literally grew up in a town of 1,400 people. And I literally thought I was I want to set the picture for you of how this happened. I literally grew up in a time, in a town, in a place where I did not even know there was another gay person on the planet. There was a time when I actually thought I was the only gay person in the whole wide world. Wow. And I didn't know there was another gay person until I saw Boy George sing "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me" on MTV. Literally. And my cousin Eddie Paris had a twin brother. His name was Ernest Paris. I met him at a family reunion. He was 33 when I was 11 years old. And he recorded City of the Living Dead for me. He took me out to see City of the Living Dead in the theater, the Fulci film, when I was like 11 or 12 years old. I forget what year it was. And he recorded the movie for me. He pirated the movie for me because he knew I loved the film. And at the end of the film, he recorded off of MTV, "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?" Because he knew that I was, he knew that I was challenged and I was, lost. And he said, watch the film. He goes, but watch all the way through the credits, Joe. And I did. And, that man influenced me like in so many ways. He actually died of a massive heart attack many years ago. But the movie Summer Massacre is dedicated to Ernest Paris. or Eddie Perez, and Eddie bought me a magazine that taught me how to make a rubber mask. And it was called Cinemagic #6. And as a youth, in my youth, we had pen pals, and I did my best to learn how to do this stuff. And I don't know if anybody here knows what Monsterland magazine or Famous Monsters of Filmland. We were reading that magazine. Well, the editor of that magazine, his name was Forrest J. Ackerman. And Forrest J. Ackerman is the reason kind of why we're having this podcast right now. He was the first sci-fi horror groupie ever. When he was young, he literally snuck onto the back lot at Universal Studios to meet Bela Lugosi. And Bela Lugosi gave Forrest Ackerman a little glass bottle with some fake blood in it and a little cork, because he showed it to me. He pulled out and showed it to me. Because Bela Lugosi gave me this bottle, and Bela Lugosi would have it in his jacket or whatever, on his costume, on his person, just in case he needed it on set. And he gave him that bottle. And he also had, if you watch the old black and white Dracula film, Bela Lugosi wears a ring when he says, "Look into my eyes," and he hypnotizes, his victims or whatever. And Bela Lugosi gave Forey that ring, and he wore it religiously everywhere. Anyways, go ahead.
No, finish. I'm sorry.
Finish.
Shut up, Tyson. Shut up. I want to say the story.
Finish. I thought you were done. Finish.
So these are these people in my life literally pointed me to learn how to do this stuff. I would not have learned how to do it without them. I had no one in my life. I grew up on a goat ranch in Helotes, Texas. A gay child that had no idea there was not even another gay person in the world, and all these men tried to shape me and mold me because they knew I was a lost soul. And because of these men, I had the opportunity to buy this magazine and meet these people and enter this contest. But no one told me, "Joe, you can't do that." And so I also, I don't even know how this happened, but a mile and a half up the road from me, there was another young man. His name is Kevin Williams. He's still my best friend to this very day. He also wanted to make special effects in horror films. He went on to pursue another career, an amazing career, but we're still best friends today. And he's actually the young boy in the photo that was taken of my makeup that won me that contest. But that contest opened up all these doors for me. I came out to Los Angeles, and that was part of the winning the contest. I got to come out to LA and meet all these people. And, everybody in LA that I met knew I was a young gay boy, but I wasn't out to my family, and even I wasn't out at the time. And when I came here, when I was 15 years old when I won that contest. I met some people that are still my best friends to this day. Brink Stevens, I met Brink Stevens there, Sabin Gray, the people at Monsterland Magazine, and all these people kind of shaped me and molded me to the man I am today. And it's just the most beautiful, amazing experience, that whole thing. I have nothing but amazing, fond memories of it. I hope that explained the answered your question.
No,
but
that was great. That was great.
Oh, that's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
One thing you said
I've literally just watched Bleed, and I love your special effects in that. They are so pretty.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you.
One thing
wait, before you ask that, in the movie, you're talking about the movie Bleed. I just want to let you know that all my effects in that film are heavily trimmed. Even though they're in there in moments, but they had to be heavily trimmed because they had full frontal nudity in the film. And at the time, the MPAA had to rate everything that went into Blockbuster. So if you wanted to show a penis, you had to trim out blood. That was just a way. So I wish there was a director's cut of the film that would have there's so much more gore in that film. But thank you very much for bringing that up. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we also had the show is about the right to be a prick, and I think we've started something. We've got to get the prick back into rated R movies. Go ahead, Tyson.
Well, we're so far away from the Boris Karloff reference that I was going to make that it probably wouldn't connect now.
Go ahead.
So, one of my favorite lines, I love this. In the movie about Ed Wood with Johnny Depp, when he goes up and the kid wants an autograph, and he says, "Oh, you were such a great sidekick to Boris Karloff," and there he is, sidekick, Karloff, and he took the paper fuck you. He doesn't deserve to smell my shit. I remember watching the film and I fell out of my seat laughing at that point. That was probably the highlight of the film for me. Do you remember, by the way, Joe, do you remember that scene?
I do remember. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Your love for Ed Wood. And now I didn't think you were the guy that was going to get us booted off of Facebook. I thought it was going to be me.
I was quoting a film.
Quoting a film.
It was a quote from a film.
My little connection to Ed Wood, the movie Ed Wood, is I was actually working in the shop that built the giant rubber octopus.
No way.
That he fights with in the pond. They're like, keep going. Yeah.
Plan 9 from outer space, right?
Yeah, that was done here in Van Nuys at a special effects shop I was working at the time. And
Plan 9 from outer space is the one with the octopus, and Bride of the Monster was.
No, the studio took all that stuff, but Ken Hall oversaw that stuff. Yeah. He went in and hand rolled each one of those suction cups. Which is like a full day of nothing but suction cups, and I don't even think they had but like 3 days to build it.
Yeah.
It was like fast. Everything was very fast, and So.
One of the things I want to say before we cut we're 22 minutes over time. We tend to do that on this show, but I want to thank my guest Joe Castro this week, and thank our guests Dave and Kat and Katie for coming on and talking. Joe, is there anything else you want to tell people on where to find you, where to find your work? Anything else you want to plug before we get on out of town?
Absolutely. I just want to say, first of all, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for putting on the show and for being patient with me coming on today. And I just want you to know that this is very important work, what you're doing. This is how, you can have art, but if you can't get it to the viewer, it's, there's just, it's lost. And so I really appreciate you bringing me on the show and for what you do. But ultimately, if you want to find me, come to Instagram and do at Joe_Castro_director. And I'm on Facebook every day. You can reach me at facebook.com/Joe.Castro. Send me a friend request, but also send me a message. Say hello and let's make a movie. And if you want to see all my work, you can go to terrortunes.tv. You can see all my films there that are uncut, uncensored, and unrated.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Say that. Yeah. Say that one more time. What's the website again?
Terrortunes.tv. All my films are uncut, uncensored, and unrated. You can see all the gore, all these things, all the films. You can get them there. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for bringing your fun personality and your amazing work to the show.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Cassie. Thank you, Tyson. Thank you, Manu.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just going to wrap up the show. Is Leftwich around, or is he going to do the Twitter thing? He's not coming on this show, huh?
Yeah, he's going to do the Twitter.
All right. So
we're working on it.
So we didn't have a ton of time to stick. Actually, we did a pretty good job of sticking to our topic and still having a great show with Joe Castro and his work here. Change your perspective. Keep a positive perspective. The only thing we didn't really get into was fantasists versus realists. But I think after this whole show of watching, I think fantasists and people that look at the world with a positive spin are always are the people that make the world go around.
I can say one thing in less than 15 seconds. We'll cover that. One of the most profound things I ever learned in my entire life was from one of my greatest mentors. His name is Rob Berman. He's still living. He said, Joe, if you can't master reality, you will never master fantasy. And it changed my entire perspective on things. Basically what he was trying to say was, if you can bring some form of reality that everybody will connect with into your fantasy world, you'll do just fine.
Wow. Wasn't Berman the guy that saved our ass with the zombots?
Yes.
How cool is that?
Rob Berman. Yeah, he's an amazing, brilliant artist and an artist and just amazing.
Yeah, Berman is another incredible. I mean, Ghostbusters. The list goes on and on. Right?
Oh yeah, as a cat people. I don't even get me started. I can't even get it. Was like the original Mario Brothers film and all of it. They did. Yeah, he's done so many things.
we had all these plans on how we were going to build our Zombots, and the visual effects
There's
shops.
one right there.
There's one right there.
I love that expression. That's good expression.
Yeah.
Priceless.
Ah, there's a good shot. There's a good shot. Yeah. So, and they all fell apart. And if it wasn't for the man that Joe just brought up, Rob Berman, let us come over to his shop and gave us a bunch of different parts that the brilliance of Joe's mind was able to cobble together into our bots. And so everybody that looks at the world with a little bit of fantasy, and I think the true answer to fantasy versus realist is exactly what you just said in 15 seconds. Yeah. Keep it real, but believe in fantasy and believe in your ability to manifest fantasy and reality. That's what we're all doing here. So thanks everybody for listening this week. Thanks to my friend Joe Castro. How did you do that? Oh, there we go. And we'll see you on Dangerous Thoughts next week with a new guest and a new topic. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Join us on Overtime on Twitter Spaces. We'll be there right now, and we'll talk a little bit more about the topics. And then I'm going to go home and check on Val. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in to Dangerous Thoughts.